Welcome everyone. Today let's talk about the Osmo 360 and why I think this is one of the best behind the scenes cameras on the market today. In my opinion, this camera is just so versatile. Shooting it right now in single lens mode, I feel like is on the same level, if not better than the action cameras. And with that being said, I think it ultimately kills the Action 5 dead in the water on all points except for durability because of this. Ultimately, the best thing about this camera in BTS environments is its 360 video, being able to reframe it however you'd like. And I find just even putting it on the hot shoe of my camera, it's not very intrusive. A lot of times you forget even it's there just based on how light it is. Oh, it's so bright, yeah. Can't see anything. One of the real benefits of having this on your camera, unlike the Osmo Pocket, is just its size. It only is about this large when on the hot show on your camera. And then compared to the Osmo Pocket 3, it stacks around this much higher over and above your camera. And I still think that the 360 is much more breakable. The Osmo Pocket 3 is strangely durable considering it has just like a small gimbal on it. However, I trust that camera a lot more than this 360 when you're banging it up against stuff. With all that being said, it's on top of your camera still, and you really shouldn't be banging your cameras up against things. So I realized that I can't wear my helmet when using this 360 camera if I don't want to blow up the lens, so I gotta be careful with that. For me, one of the best things about this camera is its ability to shoot in D-Log-M. This is particularly useful when you're trying to match cameras that you own with one another. And having it as a BTS camera, this is particularly useful. If you want to find ways to match your cameras and you're not too sure, I would really recommend you use something like an AI search engine like ChatGPT or Grok to try and help and assist you with this color transform process on the camera. Because just putting in LUTs, like D-Log M LUTs, and then putting in the LUT of your other camera is not really going to match the camera well. So if you want to try and match each of these seamlessly, I would do it through color space transforms or by matching LUTs with the same sort of output color space, like an RE sort of color space. One of the most important factors when shooting BTS content as a B or C cam is its ability to have a somewhat smooth workflow. And one of the things that helps you with that with this camera is this ability to just use the side doors here, allowing you to quickly swap batteries on the go. And it only takes about a couple seconds and you're on to the next battery. With this camera doing so many things right, it's bound to have a few issues, and this camera is no different. One of the issues that I find is actually within the DJI Studio app. When I export the clips, I'm not able to export each clip individually in a timeline. So that leads me to having to export each one individually, or I have to then export the whole timeline and then recut them up back when I put them into DaVinci Resolve, which is not necessarily my favorite workflow. And I hope that eventually you can export an entire timeline and then have it create individual clips in that timeline. The second big issue that's unavoidable with any 360 camera is just its overall workflow. Obviously, it's not easy keyframing everything, and most people will probably find it to be a little bit annoying and will probably keep them away from using this camera. However, this single lens mode, I think, really comes in clutch, and I never had to keyframe any of this clip here in this walking portion because I'm just using this single lens mode. So if you want to include this mode in your videos, it's easy enough to do and really requires next to no effort, just like any other action camera. Almost all my downsides with this camera are based around its studio app. And this is actually a pretty big positive in my eyes because this is all stuff that can be ironed out quite easily. So the camera itself, I think, is actually really good for their first iteration of a 360 camera. But my last grievance is that when I'm trying to intelligently track myself in the studio app, I do find that it freezes quite a bit and I have to close and reopen everything. But luckily, it has saved my timeline every time that this has happened, so I haven't had to recreate the entire timeline. Now, if that were not the case, trust me, I would be probably pretty upset with this system at this point. However, that hasn't happened yet. Right now I'm shooting at f11. The nice thing about this 360 camera is I can review exactly what aperture I was at when I shot the photo, which is crazy to have that ability. Something I didn't even consider in regards to the possibilities of potentially what this 360 camera could offer. All in all, I think most people will be happy with the 360 camera as long as they don't own another action camera from within the last couple of years. Even the Osmo 360 could probably be used in place of this. However, I just think that this just gives you so much more usability in so many different environments that the Osmo Pocket 3 wouldn't necessarily provide you as a B or C cam. With that being said, if you only have money for one camera, buy the Pocket 3. I think that is a much better camera for having professional-like work at a reasonably cheap price. If you found this video useful, come back again once more, subscribe, and let's hang out again once more. Look forward to providing you more content in the future. Thank you, and stay tuned for another one. YouTube recommends that you would like this video here.